I have done a rant about Mortal Kombat 1's Kameo system, and I believe the game should be out now for everyone, I think, and if not, I still don't give a shit. Mortal Kombat has always been a one-on-one fighting game, with few exceptions, whether it be side modes or even having a full-on tag mode like in Mortal Kombat the 2011 reboot. What Mortal Kombat 1 opts to do is you select the first half of the roster, and in the second half you select various characters and you push a button, you have them do an attack, and then they fuck off, and then you even do fatalities with them, which is kind of interesting, I guess, but it still doesn't change the fact that NetherRealm basically split the roster into two for really no good reason. Characters like Striker and Shujinko are subjected to just assist characters, and that kind of annoys me. Since Shujinko, I think, was way overhated, and Striker, well, I'm not going to really get into that. It's really early in the morning, as you can probably hear, and I just don't have the energy to rant about that old bullshit right now. The main reason I'm redoing this is because I have more examples and counterpoints I like to bring up, because whenever I bring up this topic of the Kameo system, people assume that I want it to be a tag mode, which I don't, or other things. So I'm going to try and explain myself a little bit better, and even have other games that have done this sort of thing, and even things I brought up after when I recorded my little rant, which, let's just get into it. You want this game to be a tag mode? No. Not everything needs to be a tag team fighting game for me to get my socks off, you know? I just don't really see the reason to keep Mortal Kombat's roster split into two when Mortal Kombat has such a rich number of characters to choose from. Games like Mortal Kombat Trilogy and Armageddon even show just how rich the roster is of playable characters, some of which have only been in like one game, not even counting their reappearance in Armageddon. There's absolutely no shortage of characters you can use for Mortal Kombat, and you're gonna honestly have Mortal Kombat of all games go the assist, striker, whatever the hell you want to call it route. That is complete bogus bullshit. Seriously. Even if you don't like Mortal Kombat 9, which I know some people don't, which is fine. I'm not exactly the biggest fan, but it definitely does have some interesting gameplay, besides the whole mechanic side of it, but whatever. Mortal Kombat 9 has a pretty decent roster. You know, having a bunch of characters from essentially Mortal Kombat Trilogy, with very few characters being DLC, particularly Rain, Kenshi, Scarlet, and Freddy Krueger. Now, imagine if Mortal Kombat 9 had the tag assist feature with characters like Striker. He just comes in, does his dual handgun moves, and that's it. That is really stupid. Why would you want to have a game like that? That is stupid. Even for Mortal Kombat. And there are even reports of story fights not letting you use the Kameo system, so it's just even more pointless to have this system. I will give kudos to NetherRealm for bringing back characters like Nitara, even though she's voiced by Megan Fox. I'm not going to really get into that ordeal because I just don't have the energy to right now, again. And even other characters that have not been returned since the 3D era. I will 100% give props to NetherRealm for actually making them playable, even if it took how many fucking games and how many timeline resets to do that bullshit. I will give them props for that, but I will not give them props for making them assist/cameos. That is not a full return of characters. I would like to be able to play as Shujinko, full-on Shujinko, in a Mortal Kombat game. That's not Deception or Armageddon, but that's not what we're given. We're only given the ability to play as Shujinko, but only as an assist, and to me, that does not count for shit. I have a feeling that they did this so that people like myself who are considered NetherRealm haters can say, oh, well, you wanted this character, well, there you go, shut the fuck up. That might be true for characters like Asha, which is another character I forgot, by the way. But having them come back as cameos is just stupid. And I know they did this intentionally so that if they were to bring back a character from out of their asses, they can say, oh, well, they're in the game now, so shut up. Why you gotta bring Street Fighter into this? Well, if you watched the video, you would know. There was another fighting game that Capcom made that's not really talked about nearly as much because it was like, what, 2 games, I think? And that game is known as Rival Schools, or Project Justice, depending on what game you're talking about. I'm going to be referring to Rival Schools since I know that game has a system. While Rival Schools is still a one-on-one fighting game, you can still have your characters do your attacks and stuff. So, and the roster isn't even split into 2. It might be a half-assed tag team mode, but let's be honest, Rival Schools is still primarily a one-on-one fighting game with your secondary character doing attacks depending on what characters you pick. And considering the setting of the game, I guess it makes sense. The point is that the fighting system is still pretty good. Rival Schools is definitely one of Capcom's better fighting games. It isn't just Street Fighter, even though Sakura is in there, or I'm sorry, Sakura. There is one thing that Rival School does that a lot of fighting games don't even let you do, and even Capcom's very awful tag team features that were on the PlayStation version of those games is that you could actually switch out your characters at the end of a round, making the match a lot more interesting if you want to use your other character that you picked. And that's what Mortal Kombat should have done. You have what Event Hubs considers the best roster in the Mortal Kombat series to date. You could still have your Kameo system, but actually make this roster actual playable characters. Make the classic characters actually be like in Mortal Kombat X, where you have the Hidden Fourth variant, where they have limited movesets and purpose. Hell, Kano is one of them. Even has his Mortal Kombat 1 appearance. Make him play like how Kano did in Mortal Kombat X, with blatantly having limited movesets. They could do it. NetherRealm is just fucking lazy. A lot of developers are lazy, and not lazy as in, you know, the technical side of things. I'm sure that rendering all this stuff is very time-consuming, but lazy as in they can't even do basic things like bringing back a character that people have been wanting only to fuck it up or just do really shitty things with it, like this assist system. But take all these characters, merge it into one roster. You can still pick your 2 characters, but after the round, or if you do that button combo like in other tag team games, you can switch out your characters in between rounds. You still get your one-on-one fighting system, and you still have that core gameplay that Mortal Kombat 1 wanted to achieve. Even characters like Sonya and Jax got the axe of being playable, and I can't really say I'm really mad about it, even though it's very baffling. I guess I can deal with it, but it's like, you could still have a way to make all these cameos actually playable, but still keeping the cameo system that Ed Boon wanted. The same person that left that comment actually told me about this very thing, and I'll leave it on the screen if you're curious. And if this is actually true, that's really retarded. Like, this is some corporate meddling if I've ever seen it. There are other fighting games, particularly Japanese, anime, whatever, inspired fighting games that have this exact same system. Whether it be, Arcana Heart, or Nitro Plus Blastus Heroines Infinite Duel, this other PlayStation 3 exclusive fighting game, or this other PlayStation exclusive fighting game that actually did get a PS4 version in Japan, which really pissed me off since I actually liked that game. It was also the closest thing to actually letting you play as Akira from Virtua Fighter, even though the only reason it has anything to do with Sega is because literally all the goddamn stages are based off of Sega IPs, which is very baffling. While these games, they have their main roster and assist roster, that's their thing. Like I said, Mortal Kombat has plenty of characters to pick from. And even games like Arcana Heart, which their assist characters is just basically elements, except for like one character which is based on the overpowered boss character, which is fucking funny to me. A lot of these games are based on other works, and usually some of their assist characters, at least to my recollection of whatever logic that this would dictate, a lot of these characters per se wouldn't exactly make for great fighters per se. But other games that do this shit, like Mortal Kombat, why does it need to go for that Marvel vs. Capcom 1 route where they just get demoted into assists only, and even new characters like Thor and even Arthur are just assists only, which makes no sense. I still stand by that, even though Marvel vs. Capcom 1 is still a decent game, although the pair play mode is probably the best way to play this shit, in my opinion. Only on Dreamcast, though. But remember, guys, everything should be on everything, and fuck you if you want it separated. That game, having a really awesome roster, and having to wait a damn near decade, at least, until we finally get to play as Arthur and Thor, only for that game to be a complete dumpster fire in terms of mechanics. These other games that do this thing, they are not exempt from my wrath of how annoying it is to have awesome characters like that dragon lady from Nitro Plus Blasters. A anime girl literally doing shoopla whoops is fucking awesome. It gives me that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 vibes where he plays War Machine using his Sunday best with that proton cannon. It's fucking great. But you don't get to do that because the game only allows you to use that one character. Even games like King of Fighters 2000, where it's striker characters, at least the ones that are exclusive, are, even though a good chunk of them are based from other characters that appeared in other games like Geese and even characters like Mr. Big and whatnot, you at least had interesting characters like Neo and Geo, and yes, that's a real thing, and other very obscure Neo Geo characters, which at least is kind of interesting, but even with the whole playable roster of characters could still be used as striker characters and whatnot. Whereas other characters in these games are just limited to just being whatever the fuck this degenerate shit is. And I know it sounds like I'm giving King of Fighters 2000 a pass, and I guess I kind of am in a very weird way because nostalgia purposes, particularly with the music, which is pretty okay. But it always had this lingering thought of, what if King of Fighters 2000 had the full roster like other games? I don't know. But for a game like Mortal Kombat to do that shit just annoys the fuck out of me, because it does not need to do this system. I understand the technology is always evolving, and thus there are limits that must be placed, or else the technology will just break. It's why Shang Tsung can't do his morph into anyone anymore, because of technology. But to limit the roster in such retarded ways that even other fighting games get flack for, even Super Smash Bros., I just realized this, even games like Super Smash Bros., Colorful Fighters, or Code Shifter, whatever, they have their own assist characters known as the trophy system, or their own assist characters in that game I've been playing. And fuck you if you dislike it, you fucking Nintendo fanboy bitch. Super Smash Bros. Is notoriously guilty for having characters who would make awesome actual playable characters, but they just get degraded to assist characters only. And I think one of the very few characters who actually got a promotion to actually fully playable character is Little Mac. But everyone else, whether it be characters like Gray Fox, Samurai Goro, or any character you can think of that actually might be a decent, playable character, is just degraded to a trophy. And I can imagine the pain and sorrow that these people who play Smash Bros. Because they recognize a character, so they clap. The logic of Smash Bros. Having assist trophies for a game where the roster is already plentiful and the IPs they're selecting from is the same reason why I'm pissed off at games like Mortal Kombat 1 doing this exact thing. Who the fuck wins by having a split roster in a fighting game series that's known to have pretty decent combat, except when NetherRealm took over and they completely fucked it up? Whatever. While my rant won't really change what Mortal Kombat 1 is, because I believe the game should be coming out, I believe today or even tomorrow or whatever, the point is that this Kameo system is fucking stupid, And I don't know how much more clear I have to make this shit so that people can understand just why having this Kameo system is complete bullshit. Unlike a certain AAA video game that tries to be so innovative but isn't since 2008, if I were to actually play Mortal Kombat 1, it has to be through a secondhand store, of which thankfully in my area there's actually 2, and it has to be for a decent price. I'm not going to spend full price on a fucking game that I'm going to dislike, and having that fear of not playing the game because I might actually like it, seriously, what the fuck? Whether I get the DLC, I really don't know. The fucking DLC choices really piss me off too. Yes, because we totally need the boys and fucking more shitty DC characters as part of the Mortal Kombat lineup, but I'll fucking digress on that. I'm gonna make this explicitly clear, once again, with my disinterest in playing Mortal Kombat. I have very good reasons, and if you think that's just excuses and complaining, or whatever bullshit you want to come up with, if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. Now, I have better things to do. It's almost 11 a.m. right now, and I need to get this out there ASAP so that I can have algorithm actually bless me with interactions, like with my Street Fighter video. I highly doubt it, but we'll see if I can strike lightning bottle in a whatever the fuck again. Now, this is Escape Room Player. I will see you all next file, and thanks for watching, and take care.
Win.